So that's your ignition there.
What?
So, press that button there.
Really?
Yep, that takes off steering lock. Press it again.
And it's keyless fob.
Yeah. And I've done that.
Yeah.
So that this is all nice and clean. And looks
Yes.
factory.
What different? It sounds exactly the same as my one did.
Yeah. If you press your mode button, it goes through modes 1, 2, 3, same as the old Fireblade.
Yes. The one's most severe.
If you go onto mode 1, traction control down to nothing. So you don't want to do that.
Can you completely switch off the ABS on this version?
You can, yeah. You can adjust it as well, but it's all set for that mode 2 riding, which is going to be more than enough for the road.
It's got a quick shifter. Do you happen to know if the quick shifter on this can be changed easily for a race shift?
Yes. Well, not how. This is genius.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is the reason why I might upgrade to this from my SP2. But
undo that there.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Undo that there. Put it in there. Oh right, because it's flip side of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so obviously it changes it. Simple as that. The Aqua comes standard on this.
That comes as standard on it.
Okay.
And when you hear that on full chat later, you'll know why. There's no point getting an aftermarket tank.
Oh, great. Okay. So it's Euro 4, not Euro 5 complaint.
No, it's Euro 5.
Okay, and it still sounds good.
Oh yeah, but it's fully automatic.
Jesus Christ, yeah. What's the retail price of this at the moment?
23,499 for the SP.
Is there any deals at all? It's nice, brand new.
Getting one is the deal. There's so few and far between.
Getting one is the deal. We had
4 delivered on Tuesday and they've all sold.
Oh, brilliant.
So the SP is 23.5 and the standard bike is 20,000. The only difference between the SP and the standard is the SP has the Brembo brakes and the electronically adjustable O-rings.
So what's the third arm mean?
Makes it more racing, doesn't it? More pilot-like.
So no, you don't actually know. No one actually knows.
No, well, we all know that R's make things fast, don't they?
Yeah, of course, it adds at least another.
So if it's not fast or powerful, you stick another R on it.
So it's worth 10 horsepower on R, so it's another 30 horsepower.
Yeah. So 215 horsepower at the crank, about 200 at the wheel.
So that's vastly up from my SP2 then.
It's massively up.
Is it basically the same engine and they've changed a lot of stuff in it? It's all new? Oh, okay.
New engine.
That's what I'm going to find out on this ride then, about the delivery, where it comes in, maybe the balance will be slightly different. Wait,
what they've done with the old Fireblades for years, the ethos has been make a road bike first and a track bike second.
Yeah.
And what Honda have done now, like when they brought out the SP1, they've just gone with a blank sheet of paper and said, right, race bike with a number plate.
Nicely on the floor. I'm on the balls of my feet quite heavily, so I'm not on tiptoes. I'm not fully flat down, but it's okay. So what I've got to do here, of course, is not drop the bike on the slippery grass. I don't think it's someone's front garden. I wasn't sure. And the gravel here. Oh, no, makes it no problem at all. Right, now, first gear. You can stay in that for a very long time. Not quite like an R1. But you can certainly stand it for a long time and not feel like you're making the engine scream more than it wants to. Now, the first thing I found when I was on this bike is that the rear sets seem particularly high. That might be because I just got off the dragster. But actually, those seem a little bit higher than the ones on my SP2. Now, the next thing you notice is the clutch lever. Now, you pull it in as normal. It's about medium. It's not super light like a Chirono. It's not super heavy. That's going to completely bug your hand up. But as you pull it out, it doesn't bite whatsoever. And you keep letting it out, nothing happens. It's only right at the end, when you think that clutch lever's practically fully extended, that it finally kicks in. I don't quite like that personally. But, of course, like anything, you'll get used to it, no problem at all. The next thing that hits you is just how bloody marvellous the fully electronic suspension is on this bike. Now, to be fair, it's on a few of the Superbikes now, and it's on my SP2. Now, this is a shitty road. Look at it. Bumps, crevices, it's kind of scraggy, quaggly tarmac, and bits like that, blemishes. You can see the bike bumping up and down. Now, that's the suspension working over time, and my God, it does an amazing job. It's also very comfortable. Once you're up on that seat in that high jockey position with the high rear sets, you actually feel pretty comfy. I mean, the seat is not exactly plush as you'd expect of a race-focused bike, but it glides along effortlessly. That suspension is quite incredible. If you ever get a chance to go on a motorcycle with EC2 Öhlins, just have a go on it. Honestly, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely transformational. And of course, when you're pushing on in speed, whether it's the track or the road, it just continues to soak it all up, inspiring you with confidence that the bike can take it and won't upset it at those crucial moments, as when you're going around a corner which you perhaps might not know that well, and there might be a few bits, bobs, and things that you run over. Now, the very next thing you'll probably notice is the clarity of the actual screen, which is superb. It's got a very clear gear indicator. Bottom right is a very clear speedo, and even the rev counter's not too bad. Of course, like any TFT these days, there's probably too much information on it, and looking around it up and down, left and right, there's loads of little bits and bobs on it. But it's something you get used to. When you know where it is, you look for it. Right. White circle, black diagonal line, only means one thing. It's beanish time! Now, very quickly, dispatch those 3 cars indeed. And look, still the road is shit. I mean, it really is. It's frightening. I don't think they'd race on this on the TT. It's certainly not on racetracks. But yeah, it glides past it. If you're in second gear, the slightest sneeze will propel you down the road. And overtaking is, of course, an absolute breeze. Even in third gear, really. There's plenty of torque down there. People will say that it bike feels slow in those early rev ranges, and it does, relatively speaking. It's very docile indeed. You could probably take it around town. In fact, a beginner could ride this bike up to 6,000 revs in any gear, no problem whatsoever, straight off passing its test. However, unlike the previous incarnation of the Fireblade, like my SP2, instead of having kind of a linear progression of the revs as they go up, introducing the speed to the bike, in this particular case, there's like not a lot going on at all up to about 6,000-7,000. And then suddenly, all hell breaks loose. It goes absolutely mental. It's just phenomenal. Now, I've probably got a bit of age on you lot, but it reminds me of single or twin turbo cars back in the mid-80s and 90s, where you're going along and nothing seems to happen. Suddenly go bang, wallop, and everything becomes like surreal as the scenery starts blazing past you. Quite incredible. Oh, here we go. Bloody hell. I mean, trucks and vans, buses. Well, what are they doing on the roads? Disgusting. It's outrageous. Well, let's take this moment to have a look at the screen. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see it says Mode 2, just above the 0 speedo. And on the left, in those 4 boxes, you can see the configurable settings. Now, Mode 2 has it in Power 1, but the track control is 5. So that's just over halfway through. So that's a much better setting to have on the road. Of course, you can go lower if you're capable and you know what you're doing, but that was absolutely fine for me. And you can set this up all individually or via the mode button, which sorts out your engine braking as well and your suspension settings. Bottom left, just in from the left, is just showing you the quick shifter is on, so you can in fact turn that off. And then bottom right, you've got the usual, you've got your fuel range, and you've got your speedo and a big rev counter in the middle and the gear indicator, which is always nice to see. I'm glad I left this in. This road was a hideous road, about 2 or 3 miles of average speed cameras where you've got to be doing 40 miles an hour or you get done. And I just note the speed cameras, you can see they're left, the yellow things. So I had to come in, stop, and wait there for about a minute. So my average speed would be a lot lower. Oh dear, how funny. But there you go. Part of the fun, I suppose. Right, finally to be clear of traffic and on a B road. I can start to pick up some actual speed here, as you can probably see. And these are kind of a nice, lovely road, a mixture of slow and fast speed bends. So really put the bike through its paces, especially with the slightly shitty roads in this part of the country, which was quite horrific. Now, there are quite a few of these kind of second gear and first gear hairpins, which was all good testing, and the bike was magnificent. There's not a style of bend or a style of riding that this bike won't make one feel like a riding legend. It's just incredibly well balanced and sorted. It's super smooth and easy on the throttle and braking. Everything you expect that it would do, that you want it to do, is just there at the end of your fingertips or your toes. Really quite a staggering machine. This one's really is, I say, completely new build to become the track master by Honda, and I can see that it really will. That Range Rover, that's clearly a blue wrap. There's no paint that looks like that. Now I'm struggling with the front brake. Not that it's not brilliant and it's powerful, but the lever's quite far away and I couldn't work out how to adjust it. So typical of bike manufacturers, they don't give you, mostly, adjustable front levers. Now the clutch one actually is not too shabby. You don't obviously use it that much, the bike having a quick shifter. But the brake one is a bit dodgy. So I think the first thing that I would do, and what many would do, is probably get some aftermarket brake and clutch levers that seem pretty good. The rear set seems spot on. No need to change that. You don't need to change the exhaust, so that's good. So there's a lot of money to be saved. Perhaps just spent on the sort of engine protection stuff which you get from R&G. But I mean, I'm finally enjoying the bike. It's so easy to move around. It's quite easy to hustle. Such is the quality of the componentry, the delivery, the suspension, and the ergonomics of these 1 litre bikes these days. They're starting to feel like 600s did. They're quite incredible machines. And if you went back in time and showed this to someone, they just probably wouldn't quite believe it. Where technology has brought us to this day, it's fantastic to behold and even better to experience. And most regrettably, you can't hear the exhaust. I do apologise. I've got a new mic set up. Didn't work. I think I need to put an adapter between my mic and the GoPro 8, which I plug it into. Annoying. Might as well use my old system, which was working fine. It's at this point in the ride that I get lost. And yet again, I'm indeed lost. I know it's part of the country, but when you start getting to a bit of the rural parts of the UK, the signage isn't great. They don't really mention the major cities. It's all little small villages. And it's very easy to get lost and not knowing even which direction you're pointing. I think actually a compass would help. Oh dear. So I'm really enjoying the bike. But after this is about another 15, 20 minutes, my back, my neck, and my wrists are really starting to ache. That's nothing to do with the bike. That's just me, even though I was on the blade in anger only a couple of weeks beforehand. If I don't consistently and regularly go on that bike, I seem to suffer as soon as I get on. But it's unusual for me to do like an hour's riding on one bike. So there you go. Other than that, the ergonomics of the bike are absolutely fine. And that sort of overtaking manoeuvre is just absolute child's play. Well, I've had some good blasts on some of the dual carriageways, and it gets into 3 figures pretty damn quickly. And it's very docile and very agile and beautifully composed on the tight, twisty, kind of shitty roads that we've got in the UK. So I think what I'll do now, let's move on to the summary. Oh, blimey. I am aching. I'm not used to riding the blades for so long, to be fair. Not even my one. You'd think I'd know better by now. So, Negatives out of the box. Well, you're going to want to change a few bits. Luckily, you don't have to change the exhaust. Stunning. You're going to want a solo seat cowl. You want to go and change these levers. This one's particularly big, particularly long reach. Might be adjustable somewhat there, but I think you'd probably want to change those. Going to get the usual kind of protection. It's got some nice carbon bits apparently, but that's probably going a little bit too much of the hog and starting to really build this up to a 25 plus bike. Other negatives. That isn't the other negatives. This bike is bloody awesome. It looks the dog's bollocks, and people are going to know what it is straight away because it's got a most unusual kind of triple blue livery thing going on with the HRC. I mean, you can't see the RR pit that clearly because this kind of gets lost a bit. You kind of see that. It kind of as if you needed another couple of hours there, but and the Honda down there just evokes kind of a racing heritage. The absolute standout positives, well, the suspension is as it was on the SP2 and SP before it, absolutely stunning. The TFT is brilliant, ultra configurable. The bike is incredibly docile. Some people have seen it might be a little bit too slow, not too exciting in those low rev ranges, but my god, when you hit that mid-range it goes berserk and carries on right up. I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure if I got out of fourth gear at any point on this bike, and I was mostly going around in second and third, of course, urban environments as you'd expect, and it was a weapon, absolute weapon. The turning is beautiful, sublime, extremely well balanced. Brakes are very, very good. This bike is just going to give you huge amounts of confidence on the track and the road just when you need it the most. Stunning bike. It's a lot of money. I mean, Honda will start bringing some deals. Probably it will take till next year though, because there's going to be a flood of orders. So that's the price you're going to have to pay. And yes, it's worth it. I reckon. I'm sure. I mean, I've been in the V4S. That's got a bit of character. It's got a lovely noise, but this has got it where it all matters, and you're going to go a lot faster on this bike in any given similar circumstance. Wow, wicked. And I survived it because it's a hideous excess. Right, okay, then next up we're going to come down. Bikke's going to come down with the Fireblade. We're going to do a back-to-back comparison, rolling on, rolling off, acceleration, etc, etc, to see what we think. Now I'm going to try and get a Honda RR-R SP to use on the track, which might be a bit of a long shot, but I'll have a go because that'd be quite interesting. Well, I won't go on it, I wouldn't want to drop it, but Bikke could take that. I'll take my one, and we'll see how it goes. But fabulous bike, highly recommended. So just signing out. This is Aid from Which Bike at Doble Motorcycles in Croydon. Double dealership, both ends of the street. Great guys, super array of bikes, and not just Hondas. Oh wow, flipping awesome. Big question is, do I trade in the SP2, which now come up to a year old, for this bike, or do I not?